So You Want to Be a Writer? Written by Jane C. Scott. Introduction. Have you ever thought about becoming a writer? Writers are not just the people whose names you find on the storybooks in your school library. Writers also write articles in magazines and newspapers. Some writers write the scripts for TV shows and movies. Some writers write the words to songs. Other writers write instructions on how to use things, advertisements, and the words inside birthday cards. So, if you want to be a writer, you can find plenty of different things to write about. With paper and a pencil, you can write anything, anywhere. Different kinds of writers. Textbook writer. Advertisement writer. Research paper writer. Poet. Playwright. Newspaper journalist. Author, novels. Magazine feature writer. Writing stories. If you want to write stories, you need to remember a few rules. Your story has to be interesting enough to make someone want to read it from start to finish. Always start your story with something exciting and with plenty of action. This gets the reader interested in the story right away. Then, keep the story moving along with some twists and turns. There should be a climax to your story, such as a big action scene with the hero nearly getting defeated. The ending should wrap up the story. Planning your story. Before you start writing, it is a good idea to plan your story. Think about the following. What kind of story is it? For example, science fiction or fantasy? Who are the characters in your story? When and where is the story set? What will happen along the way? How will the story end? Will the story be exciting and interesting enough for the reader? Having a parent read over your work can be a great help. Once you have written the story, you will want other people to read it. But they will not want to read a story that has spelling mistakes or is written in messy handwriting. So, it is important to edit your writing. Many people dislike editing. But, if you want to be a writer, editing is one of those things that just has to be done. Reread your story carefully and change things that do not sound correct. Cross out any bits that are boring or do not add to the story. Check the spelling and then put in periods and capital letters. It is a good idea to get someone else to read through your story. They might be able to give you some hints. Teachers and parents are usually good at this. Now, your story is ready for the final draft. Write it carefully using your best handwriting or type it on a computer. You can get someone to help you with the typing. But it's better if you do it yourself. The more you type, the better and faster you will become. Do not forget to illustrate your story if it is for young children. A few pictures will add to your story and make it more interesting to read. You can draw the illustrations yourself, get a friend to help, or look for pictures in books, magazines, and cartoons. Checklist for writers. Make the story as interesting as possible. Edit the story. Check the spelling and grammar. Type or write out the final draft. Illustrate the story if required. Writing nonfiction. Nonfiction is writing about something that is fact. That means it is not a made-up story that uses imagination. A nonfiction text can be an account of something that happened or a procedure of how to do or use something. Look around your school or home and find things you could write about. You could write an account of a trip that your class went on. Then, submit the account for your school newsletter. A trip to the zoo could be the starting point for an interesting account. Write instructions to help your family remember how to use something at home. For example, write instructions for how to record a TV program on video. Then, stick the instructions up where everyone can see them. Recording using the VCR. 1. Turn on the TV and VCR. 2. Using the VCR remote, press the program button. 3. Press the left and right arrows until you select the correct channel. 4. Press the left and right arrows until you select the correct date. 5. Press the left and right arrows until you select the correct start time. 6. Press the left and right arrows until you select the correct end time. 7. Press the OK button. 8. Now press the red timer button on the remote. The VCR will turn off and a red light will be visible next to the time display. This means the VCR is ready to record. Interview people such as your teachers, parents, or friends and write the interview. You could tape it and play it to your class like a reporter on the radio. You could record sounds to include with your interview. Asterisk, write about interesting things at your school and have your articles put on the school's website. Asterisk, write down all the jokes and riddles you hear that you like, so you remember the punchline for each of them. Write an account of somebody's life, or a biography. You could write a biography of your best friend. Interview your friend first, so that you get all the facts correct and in the right order. You could write about the life of one of your grandparents. You might be surprised to learn about all they have done. You can find many references in the library. There are hundreds of nonfiction articles you could write and just as many people who would be interested in reading them. The trick with nonfiction writing is to make it clear and simple. It is also important to use references to get all your facts correct. You can also use the internet. But remember, you still have to keep your readers interested. Just as with story writing, it is very important that you edit your work if you want other people to read it. Different kinds of references: thesaurus, encyclopedia, almanac, internet, atlas, dictionary. Judy Blume is a well-known children's book writer. She has made a career out of writing. Being a professional writer, if you think you would like to have a career as a professional writer, you need to practice writing as much as you can. Also practice editing your writing to make it better. You can do college courses to help you become a writer when you finish school. If you do not want to go to college, you can get a job writing and then train as you go. Some writers you may have heard of are journalists who write the news. Novelists write stories using their imagination. Playwrights write scripts for plays. Copywriters write the words for advertisements. But you do not have to wait until you finish school to become a writer. Start now and you may reach your goal sooner than you think. There are many ways for young writers to get their work published, so look for these at your school, in the library, or on the internet. Remember that writers also do plenty of reading. They read to get ideas. So, read as much as you can. Read as many different things as you can. The more you read, the better you will write. Reading will help with your writing skills. You can read a book just about anywhere. So, if you enjoy writing and reading, keep practicing both. And one day, students like you may well be reading one of your published books. Saving tigers. If you work hard enough, you could end up writing a book on a subject that interests you. Glossary. Biography, the story of a person's life. Draft, a rough plan or piece of writing. Edit, to make a piece of writing ready for publishing or reading. Illustrate, to show something with pictures. Professional, making a career and earning one's living in a certain type of work, such as law or teaching. Punchline, the last line of a joke or the line on which the joke depends. References, sources used to check facts and get information, such as an atlas, dictionary, encyclopedia, or the internet.